requested originally. Now it's
No,
over.
six months wasn't requested, that's what was given. So that, and that still doesn't answer my question. Why wouldn't you consider extending the moratorium when the job hasn't been completed?
I don't think that a moratorium and the completion of the job necessarily coincide. I think the moratorium gave us an opportunity to table any requests while we began the work that was needed to review these conditions. And that I don't think that the conclusion of the committee, in whatever state you want to say, the conclusion of the ad hoc, the conclusion of the zoning board, or the conclusion of the full county board, I don't think that ties in necessarily with the end of the moratorium.
But the moratorium was specifically for conducting this review.
That's right.
This is the minutes from
It's
the,
being conducted.
but it's not completed.
That's okay.
So what
It
happens?
doesn't stop. The review won't stop.
What happens when somebody comes into Chris' office with a petition to put wind turbines up, and you have, and your guidelines for placing wind turbines are in a state of flux? What happens?
We make a decision based on the criteria we have. We already talked about the fact that these can be changed on a project-by-project basis. We have the ability to be more strict or more lenient, and I think we'll exercise that given the situation that might present itself, that may hypothetically present itself.
Can I ask, what is the downside of extending the moratorium? What is the downside of that?
The downside is that there may be wind projects that it's in the county's best interest to pursue.
Well, can't we wait?
A full moratorium says no to everything. Taking the moratorium away doesn't say yes to everything. Taking the moratorium away allows us to make decisions on a project-by-project basis.
Couldn't you just extend the moratorium another 6 months or whatever it requires for the new county regulations to go into play, rather than making another mistake? You know, we feel mistakes have been made, and mistakes will be made again if we don't arrive at the new set of conditions. Mistakes that will go on for 70 years or whatever. I don't understand what the downside is.
But we've heard these arguments
Over and over.
over and over the same question. My question, and I told you that the other day when I talked to you. If I own 160 acres out here, who's paying my taxes? Are you going to pay my taxes? I might want a windmill to pay my taxes, $5,000. You people aren't farming. If you are, you have this decision to say no. If I'm farming, I can say, yes, I need $5,000 and I want to put a windmill on there. And you people now are going to say, no, we're going to have a moratorium and you can't put one on there.
Well, there's other people who are farming who don't want to see wind turbines on their
So
property.
they don't have to put one on?
Well, but that doesn't address that the wind turbines' impact goes well beyond the turbine host's property line.
We could
See,
argue that forever.
by your argument, you're saying that the guy who wants a wind turbine
Right.
has the right to put it up
That's right.
without any regards for his neighbors'
That's
rights.
right. If it's legal, what about my neighbors out there that raise cattle or hogs? Are you gonna stop the smell?
No.
You're not, because you're not interested in that. You're interested in nothing but windmills.
Well, if that were the case, then why do you have zoning ordinances at all? Because that's what zoning ordinances do. If that farmer wanted to put up a tire factory, could he do that? No, why not? Because it's not allowed by the ordinance.
No, we'd zone it. You could zone it anytime, business, put an industrial park.
But theoretically, you are supposed to be protecting the property rights of the people in this county as a whole, not individuals. You're not supposed to be protecting the property rights of the petitioner who's standing before you. What you're supposed to be doing is protecting the property rights of every person in this county by approving what that petitioner wants you to do. You should be ensuring that you're protecting the rights of everybody in that county. That's what zoning ordinances do.
And that's why we have zoning ordinances.
Exactly.
The disagreement, though, is we believe that zoning ordinances that we have in place are protecting those rights, and you don't. That's the disagreement. We don't have a disagreement over the idea of zoning rights. We have the disagreement over whether or not those zoning rights are right now accomplishing their mission.
So you feel that the zoning rights are accomplishing.
I believe they allow us to accomplish it.
No matter what type of project it is under normal circumstances, if there's a contested issue on zoning, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose.
I think we have the framework set up to address those too.
I guess the reason I'm spending so much of my time and energy fighting this is because Lee County has been lucky. And, I'm looking at the future, and as soon as Lee County lets in the disaster that happened in DeKalb County with those wind turbines, you've got 150 wind turbines interdispersed amongst 250 homes, and there's people whose lives are very negatively affected. Those people have not been protected. And guess what? DeKalb County's ordinances aren't significantly different than Lee County ordinances. So what are you going to do the next time a developer comes in if you don't have more restrictive ordinances to protect those people? How are you going to guarantee that you're not going to create the exact same situation that happened right across the county line without having more restrictive ordinances?
And why hasn't it happened? Because the judgment has been shown not to let it happen. I will admit that issue over in DeKalb County is not something that should have been done. But it was done in some ways, for instance in Shabana, with the blessing of the city fathers. They wanted those 4 or 5 windmills along Route 30, from what I understand. That's their industrial park. They asked to have them put there. And I don't think we would do the same.
Well, but you haven't demonstrated, you just implied that you've controlled it so to not create that situation. I don't think you've had that opportunity presented, and I don't think that you've demonstrated that you would place
We have to
controls on
place
there.
some type of faith in the people that are there to protect you.
Can I ask Chris, do you have any reason to believe that we will get more petitions coming up soon here for additional turbines from our other projects?
Do I think we will?
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah.
There's nothing pending now,
Nothing
though.
pending at the moment, no. No, we're all aware there's land dealings going on out there. If somebody came in, this won't appease you, I know it won't, but I'm going to say it anyway, Steve. If someone came in the office and wanted to start a petition for a wind farm, the very first thing I would tell them is, we are under review. You can apply. I don't recommend that you apply or go to the public hearing at this point in time. That would be their choice. If they wanted to come in, yeah, they'd go back to what we have for the conditions in ordinance. And it's still up to the zoning board of appeals to say, hey, we're going to change that condition. We're going to put, 1,500 feet on there. I mean, 50, that's all made up. Or we're going to require shadow flicker not to hit your house for more than 20 hours a year. Or they can see, that's what they can do. But I would explain that to the petitioner, saying, really not a good time to be going right now. It's up to you. If you want to, we'll proceed. We'll go ahead and fill out the papers. And then ultimately, the county board votes on whatever recommendations is out of that committee.
Well, I guess I don't see a downside to extending the moratorium that you're talking about.
Is there, so you get another moratorium, is that the last time you ask for the moratorium?
If you get the job done,
Yeah.
well,
How are you gonna get the job done? He's sitting over there saying that you're not getting the job done, so why would you extend the moratorium? Why would you not extend the moratorium when he says, yeah, document, he's going nowhere?
well,
And you're not agreeing with whatever each one of you are, you have opposite, you don't agree with what's going on, and you're not, how do you come to the acceptance of whoever is put on that board, committee? Because you're not gonna get everybody to agree with you. And it sounds like to me, since there's not enough people agreeing with you or supporting you, you want us to keep on carrying this on and on.
no, the issue is really that the people on that board are not representing the interests of the people of Lee County. They are representing other interests.
Opinion.
Like what? Like what? What are they representing?
Wind developers. You've got an employee of the wind developer.
Okay.
You've got an employee of Sauk Valley on there
Okay.
who has a wind program, who would benefit by having more turbines in Lee County because that would get more kids in his wind program. And then you have various members of the zoning board who have been involved with wind development and maybe looking at their own self-interest,
In what way?
signing leases.
Which one of them has a lease?
I don't think any of them signed a lease, not in my,
I was totally unaware of that.
He signed a lease
Mike
for,
Mike got a lease to put in a wind turbine?
not a wind turbine, power lines for wind turbines.
Well, that could be because of the location.
You have
of
a
the farm.
gentleman
He's
that's
already
heading
got
up
a
here, that's heading this up.
He's got a peaker
That's
plant.
actually not even a resident of Lee County.
Exactly.
Right, I objected to my participation from the beginning.
It's, you know, it's not my fault that this all started on the wrong foot. It's, you know, don't blame me for the fact that we didn't get the job done.
I'm not blaming you on nothing.
In 6 months. I mean, I'm just saying the job's not done, so give us more time to get the job done and do what we need to do.
You're gonna get the time, you just aren't gonna have a moratorium.
Listen to how the chairman describes the efforts of the county assessor when she had provided the annual average sale price of homes over a period of time, and made the claim that the wind farm in the area did not affect prices. By the way, does that make sense to you? It should not. She admitted that the final year of her study had relative few sales, and that the year's high average was skewed by a single sale in particular. That proves that an average annual sale price does not provide any meaningful information at all. The Properties Committee does not seem to understand that simple mathematical fact.
Last meeting, our county assessor put together some facts and figures on the sale of properties right inside a wind turbine development, on the value of the properties there. She did an analysis for 10 years, I believe it was, from the start of the wind project until up to today, up to this year, as current as the information could be. And then, one real estate agent,